2023 Bloomfield Hills City Commission meeting. Let's all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item is the consent agenda, which includes the minutes from the meeting held September 12th, 2023. Do any of the commissioners have comments or questions?
I have
I'll move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
We have a second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Consent agenda is passed. Next item is recognition of citizens in the audience. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak? Nope. Okay, we will move right on then. The commission will recognize Commissioner Sarah McClure for her service to the city of Bloomfield Hills. And I would like to read the resolution that we're passing this evening. Resolution honoring Sarah H. McClure. Whereas Sarah McClure has dedicated well over a decade of service to her community with a focus on maintaining the character of the city of Bloomfield Hills. Whereas, as a result of her strong commitment to her community, Sarah sought election to the City Commission with the honorable goal of advocating for the implementation of municipal best practices to run an efficient and effective city government. Sarah was first elected in 2010 and subsequently sought and won re-election for 4 additional terms in 2012, 2015, 2017, and 2021. For a total of over 13 years and 5 terms of elected representative service to the residents of the city of Bloomfield Hills. Whereas Sarah served 3 terms as mayor in 2012, 2017, and again in 2020, leading the city commission with a fiscally responsible approach and always contributing with her professional experience and acumen in finance. Whereas in 2012, Sarah was first appointed as a member of the Planning Commission, and Sarah continued her service for a total of 3 terms as a valuable City Commission representative on the Planning Commission. Whereas Sarah also served on the Zoning Board of Appeals for 3 terms as a City Commission representative on the Zoning Board of Appeals. Whereas Sarah McClure approached her responsibility as mayor and city commissioner with the highest degree of professionalism and established herself as the consummate leader in working with the community and the city administration. Whereas Sarah initiated several practices and programs during her tenure as an elected official that remain significant and fundamental features in the city. Sarah McClure was instrumental in the adoption of the city's beautification efforts over the last decade, from the Woodward Avenue median projects to the residential tree program and the implementation of legislation to save and encourage the enhancement of the city's woodlands and tree canopy. Sarah led by example in recommending annual goal-setting practices and identifying measurable improvements to both city services and the infrastructure projects without an increase to the general operating tax millage rate. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Bloomfield Hills City Commission that Sarah H. McClure be commended for her dedication to the citizens of our fine city and send the warmest wishes for retirement from elected office on this 10th day of October 2023. May I please have a motion to adopt this resolution?
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the resolution for Sarah H. McClure.
Second?
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? No. And I know I'd personally like to thank Sarah for her serving as a source of both information and inspiration to me in my short tenure here on the commission. And I'll miss you.
We all will.
We will.
We will all miss you, Sarah.
Well, thank you. It's very nice, and the tree is very nice that was planted. It's great. We're lucky that in our area in southeastern Michigan, there are a lot of different communities, and I always felt that that was important, that we don't always have to have cookie cutter suburbs, that we can all be different. And, you know, I think it's important that in the city of Bloomfield Hills, the staff and the various bodies, the various commissions have worked. You know, if you want rolling hills, if you want large lots, if you want mature trees, a great public safety department, and that this was a wonderful place to live in and work. And, you know, it didn't mean, as we were called one time by some publication, that we were a dinosaur. I mean, we can change with the times and still be relevant, but it doesn't mean we can't have our own character. So I think it's important that we've worked for that, and we protect that. It, you know, there will always be some changes. You know, it's not always going to be the same. But anyway, I think it's a good time. We have a great staff led by our city manager and finance director and Amy Burton and everyone else, the chief. And so it's a good time. I think things are in good hands with a good commission, and you know, it's been great. I always said it was great about 85% of the time. 10% were and then 5% were like, ugh. But it's been, I've really enjoyed it most of the time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Here's your resolution.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
And one sign that the city is functioning well is, this is like the shortest agenda. It will probably be one of the shortest meetings we've ever had.
That's my last meeting
Yeah.
as a mayor.
That is, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
How about that?
Okay, the next item is the commission will consider the appointment of the election inspectors to serve as the election on November 7th, 2023. Amy?
I'm happy to answer any questions. This is your responsibility as the election commission. All of these individuals have served at elections previously and have committed to serve again this November.
Just a couple questions. George is retired?
No, George is chairperson.
Oh, I didn't see that at the top. Okay. I just want to make sure he's sort of a fixture there, right? And then also, we didn't have any issue getting people, did we?
No,
Okay. Do we have a bank of people?
I do. I have trained, and additional people that are not able to work this November have taken the training to be ready for the presidential election next year.
Because that's going to be a busy one.
Yes.
So we'll be ready for next year, and we
Yes.
won't be, okay. That's all, that's fine.
Thank you.
We ready for a motion?
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion that we approve the appointments of the election inspectors to serve at the election held this November 7th, 2023, as presented in front of us.
Second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay. Moving on. City manager comments.
The only thing I wanted to mention is that we have a lot of response from the tree program. So I believe we're going to easily use up all the allotted funds in the budget. I was going through them today, but I'll find out soon.
Is it the same areas we've done before, or new people, or?
You know, it's all over the city, and it is definitely new people. So usually, typically, if you've already requested trees, there's not a good spot to put. We usually put 1 or 2 trees, and they've kind of taken up their space. So most folks are new, which is good. So we'll have to see if we can put 2 in some places, and just depending on the budget. But we've had a great response. So.
I had a resident comment. I was out walking, and they commented about how beautiful the city's going to look in a couple of years when these trees are, maturing and getting taller. And he goes, I would have never normally thought to do it, but he goes, a resident on Rudgate. who-
Yeah, inside the subdivisions is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the right of way, city property, it's nice.
How is the, we'll wait till their business and then I'll ask you.
Sure, yeah, that's all I had.
Okay.
Okay, other business?
Okay. Okay, so we were having some dead trees on the islands on Woodward.
Yes,
So are we still taking those out as they,
yes, yeah, so, Australian pines was the ones that were really, and so we're kind of systematically taking them out. And we've had, I think we took, about 5 this year, and as they get worse, to be honest with you, I'm just doing it from how they look. If they still look halfway decent, I just didn't want to go through and kind of wholesale cut them all down, because it leaves a real space there. So I think it's working out pretty well, unless the commission sees something they don't like. But I think we took about 5 more of them down, and it's created some spaces in between. But I think it looks fine so far. And we'll see what funds we have left to see if we can put any other trees on the medians. But we've tried to, I'm not sure if you know this or not, but we've tried to trim those trees. We try to maintain them very well, and some of them were planted a few years ago and weren't really the best trees, the stock. And these latest tree planting contractor, we've had good luck with, and good luck within the subdivision. So
Can I ask who you're using?
yeah, Jim Christmas.
That's easy to remember.
Yeah.
So was it the species of the Australian pines that couldn't handle the traffic, or?
Yeah, they have some sort of needle disease. I forget the name of it.
Diploria
Yeah.
blight.
We have some very large ones in our backyard that we've had since we moved in, since we built our home, but our gardener had always said that we only have lost 1 out of 5. There was like a cluster. He said that Austrian pines, since they're not really native to Michigan, he said they're going to die. So
Yeah.
they're not native, so they're not going, well, ours are really, really tall, but, we did lose one.
Australian pines, I didn't know that.
It's
We
not.
did spray
Plenty
them.
of non-native
We sprayed them
trees
for
that do
years
well here.
for that specific disease, but we've heard from the our arborists that eventually they will just succumb to it.
They do get brown, the needles,
Yes.
and you have to keep cutting off the bottom, and they keep getting taller. And the
Right.
bottom dies underneath.
They're beautiful trees. It's a shame.
Okay.
Speaking of that, going back to the tree program, I meant to say something to you too. So, I'd like to say I have a green thumb and it's me, but it's not. It's my garden guy. Remember we talked about taking those stakes out in the trees that we plant?
Yes.
Okay, so, because ours, the ones that you planted in the right of way are just going gangbusters. I mean, they're doing really well. But one of the 2 things that the gardener did is he took out the stakes, and then he also took that mulch and he flattened the mulch, because he said if you don't, the roots grow up into the mulch because they got all that room. And they're not growing. So he was saying that might be one of and if you look at across the street, and our neighbors still have the stakes in there, and they still have that big mound of mulch, that mulch should be broken down. I don't know if that's our responsibility, but maybe if when they're planting them, they communicate that they should take those. And if you leave those stakes in, you are stopping the tree from growing. You're
I'm glad you
literally-
reminded me. I don't think it's that laborious for us to go out there and remove those stakes. We'll certainly do that. I'm glad you said that. And if there's a way we can pat down that mulch around a tree, that's something that's not too hard for us to do. We'll do that.
Right.
I'm glad you reminded me, because
Okay.
I remember you saying that before, and yeah, we'll do that for sure.
I mean, if you look at our trees and then the neighbors down the street, ours are double.
And you just got yours.
And I just got them.
Yeah.
And the neighbor across the street got a year before me. And they keep asking me, they're like, how is yours doing so well? And I'm like, well, you still got the stakes in,
Yeah, and you have to unwrap them, because we
Yes.
wrap all of them.
You have to
Okay,
unwrap 'em.
Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah.
We'll-
Some
we'll-
people have to put, the deer also like them because they're the perfect angle for the antlers. So some people have to put rubber around them,
Yeah.
and they think they need to keep that wrapping on them. They don't. It needs to come off, and then they get it like that rubber tubing to put around. So just as a reminder. And then the other one is, how's the culvert coming?
The,
The,
Chesterfield one?
yeah, Chesterfield.
Good. We're working through design right now. We're planning to have it out to bid in January.
Are any surprises? It's not any worse, it's not,
It's going well. I believe we got our Eagle permit, so that went through smooth.
yeah.
So we're just kind of tying up the design and planning to, get a contractor on board here in the beginning of the year.
okay. Trowbridge, are we doing,
So Trowbridge,
fix it?
we did go through, and we think some of the things that we did has helped. We have talked to some residents that live off Eaton Cross, and we're a little concerned about some of the riprap application that we did, and took a look at that, and I think they'll be happier. That'll fill in even with some vegetation, and won't be as noticeable. But I think the extra effort, the additional storm sewer grates, and has helped. And you know, we're monitoring some areas that one or two people are not completely happy with, and I think it's the best we can do right now. I'm not sure if Commissioner Baxter noticed anything at all, or.
I was mentioning it to Leah earlier that I really think that the changes you made with the berming and the spraying of those to keep them sort of watertight has really worked well. I mean, I was out there in the last rain and I watched how it was working, and everything's moving toward the drains, not undercutting the road anymore, which is fantastic. The only thing I did notice is on Canterbury Slope, that upper drain, there's two drains on up Canterbury.
Yes.
There's one toward the bottom, and there's one kind of at the top, and the one at the top is still plugged. It's not draining. So if
So
we
it needs
could,
to be, maybe it got plugged with stone?
probably, because all the pea gravel
We'll,
came down in those heavy rains and probably, plugged it.
well, DPW happens to have a new piece of equipment that you folks approved last budget year, and they have a Vector, they can vacuum it out.
Great.
So we'll make sure that's done. Thank you for letting me know.
Okay.
Any news from MDOT on what we asked them to do, or?
Representative Donnie Steele was here Friday. I came in to meet with her about MDOT's crosswalk, and the chief was here also to meet with her about legislation for noise. And she also had like a community gathering here that she used our commission room that a few people showed up with, and MDOT was there. MDOT has a representative from MDOT is applying for a grant to provide a safe crosswalk. I discussed the amount of work needed for that crosswalk with Representative Steele, and I really don't think it's that hard of a thing to do personally. So we're making a little bit of movement here and there. So I mean, it's probably the best thing I can say.
What about the noise issue?
So Representative Steele is going to meet with Jeff and Director Gormley, and also the Birmingham chief and probably the township chief.
Yes.
And that's coming up soon. And she asked for some examples of legislation that would help. And we talked about some ideas of maybe even changing the legislation just to allow individual municipalities to use their own ordinances rather than developing legislation.
oh, statewide?
That kind of that's another option or another approach that we recommended. So maybe that'll work. But so that's moving along.
So as people drive along Woodward, there's going to be inconsistent laws?
There could be
From
if they
10
did
feet
it.
to the next mile to the
Yeah,
next?
there could be if,
Could be. I'm
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it could be.
not sure if the legislature would think that's a good idea or not. But we're throwing everything out there to see if
Yeah,
something
see what
sticks.
Didn't we provide them with a draft of, Dirk, didn't you provide them with it? Yes, last, 2 years ago.
Yeah,
We
and I
gave it
think Chief Gormley re-provided it to Representative Steele just recently.
We did.
Yeah.
She has it, and she's aware of that letter.
And we also are trying to get some other I believe, who's the other,
Price
and,
and,
and our senator.
Mallory
McMorrow.
McMorrow. She's not ours anymore, though.
No,
No.
But
I'm
they
sorry.
you
The other,
mentioned her.
That was in the Eagle. That was on the front page of
Moss.
the
Is that
Eagle.
where
Sorry.
that was?
Oh,
Moss.
he's
So-
not a representative though.
No, he's a senator. He does represent us in the Senate, right, in the Michigan Senate, and so he is coming in, I believe, in a week or two to meet us, to talk with the staff, and we're going to talk to him about also helping out with this issue.
And it looked like they were pouring the pads for the bus stops
Yes,
recently.
yes.
And
I
they're-
noticed how they moved it from the location where it was in front of the gas station to a little bit further. I noticed that.
But they left the other one right on the corner.
Yes.
And they haven't taken any steps to get before the planning commission yet for the.
No,
I
no,
think she said they'd wait till spring.
yeah. So SMART knows that we have a process with the planning commission, and they have our process and the rules, and so they understand what they have to do, and they have a consultant that they hired to review all of our ordinances, and so I think they're willing to go through the process before they put any shelters up. And they said it probably wouldn't happen till the spring.
I also attended that Friday night with Donnie Steele, and one of the things not to think about now, but down the road, is that was brought up was the electric vehicles that are coming, and the panel up here there's from MDOT and Donnie Steele and everything, and they were just talking about how much heavier these electric vehicles are. Like almost 1,000 pounds heavier. Representative Steele was talking about being at a factory they were making this truck, and it's just making it electric was like 1,000 more pounds.
But it had to be lighter.
Yeah, no, the batteries are heavier. So she said that her comment was
Well,
that
the cars are lighter, maybe the trucks are heavier.
yeah, I don't know. She said that will have an impact on our roads
Yeah, for sure.
for the heavy vehicles that, going, when we get more and more electric vehicles. So they're also looking at that. It's interesting that they were looking that far ahead and paying attention to the infrastructure and things like that on the road. But I did meet the MDOT. I told Dave earlier, I met the Lori from MDOT on it, and she's, they have a lot of work to do on Woodward. So the chief was here, we were talking with him, but the one thing we have is Representative Steele is very supportive of any initiatives as far as the roads or the sound, in trying to help us whenever we can. And it sounds like they're making some progress, because they have, in Birmingham, they have a lot of people they're meeting, and
I think there is the most progress I've seen from the legislative movement
right.
since I've been here. I don't know how that's going to turn out, but we have 3 different legislators that are meeting with us and have all promised to sponsor a bill collectively.
That's great.
Yeah, that's
And
great.
They're working together on both sides, which is nice to see, and trying to find the best way to help us and move it forward. So we plan to meet with them at the end of this month again.
Okay, good. It sounded like that article in the Eagle sounded very favorable about the noise ordinance, so, good.
Okay, anybody have anything else? No? Okay, well, meeting is adjourned.
It's gonna be the short.